The ORC is such an amazing experience. We all making the decisions together, and that's what unionism is. We all working together for a better world for workers. That's what we're doing.
I know that a better, fairer, more compassionate, kinder world is possible if we work together. Join me for each step of this incredible journey because I know we're going to land somewhere better. I want to thank everyone for being here to help us change the world. Thank you so much. Have an amazing council. Something that we can all agree on is that life has become unaffordable. Rent is high. Groceries are expensive. The cost of everything has gone up. Housing is a fundamental human need and has become an escalating crisis in our province.
As a grocery store worker, I believe, affordability hits everybody. I've been 25 years with Metro, and I live in community housing because I can't afford regular rent rates.
We're doing everything that we can at the bargaining table to support our members and get them the wins that they deserve and the gains that they deserve. But the impacts of what is happening with inflation, with the high cost of rent, the average person cannot keep up with those rates, and people cannot afford to live in this province. And that is why housing and why affordability is a top concern for us here in Ontario.
The province of Ontario has the highest average rent in this country. Minimum wage is $16.55. Many families across Ontario work multiple jobs to keep a roof over their head.
But we also have to do more than things at the policy level. We have to practically make a difference for people because you don't solve the housing problem overnight. That isn't going to happen. But we can make sure that people are not being taken advantage of, that there is a voice for tenants. And this is what our union does. We create space for it, we support it, and we build a movement around these big issues.
The affordability crisis is really changing how young people can plan their lives, their futures, and it's shrinking our choices more than any other generation.
I was fortunate enough to spend a couple hours with the retired workers this week. They remind us of our important history and the gains that we have made, that they have worked so hard. Most of them now are looking at their family and looking at even their grandchildren now and thinking about how this affordability crisis is so different than when they grew up. We can talk about generational changes, generational economic pressures, but we are in a severe pressure right now.
Then there's the mental health is a really big struggle going on right now. People don't know how they're gonna be able to afford food. It's a difficult society to live in.
These are real issues in our workplace. As union reps, we all know we need tools to help our members.
Where we have EFAP reps, women's advocates, mental health advocates, and trained reps, members are more likely to seek out help and support, which in turn can save a life.
The power of that particular presentation, it speaks to how people are struggling in isolation and alone. I mean, the amount of stigma that's still in place and that people don't want to talk about what's actually going on in here, or what's going on in here, and how we can affect that by talking about it, how we can change the language surrounding that, how we always have the opportunity to do more to help those individuals who are really struggling.
It is all interconnected. If you can't afford anything, that's going to affect your mental health, right? So it's the back and forth and really trying to solve that problem. If they need help, they should be able to get that help from their employers.
Hospital workers, while exhausted and burnt out, continue to rally in communities across the province to continue to sound the alarm on the healthcare crisis that Premier Ford has fast-tracked.
I am currently part of the member-to-member campaign for the Ontario Regional Council. I'm a personal support worker. I've been doing that job in a retirement home setting for about 17 years. I think a lot of our Ontario people don't realize how much of our system is privatized currently, but if it was to be passed, this law, Bill 60, I think that it would be a decision between our health care and putting food on the table.
It took us 100 years to build public health care. You know, we achieved, in Ontario, we achieved public hospital insurance in the 1950s, public medical insurance in the 1960s. Suffragettes and labor and farmers and faith communities fought for and won, ultimately, public Medicare for all. I mean, what an incredible achievement. It shows that when we fight like hell, we win.
And we really need to get our members out and educated on what potentially could be the destruction of public health care in Ontario. We need everyone's support in this because it will affect you, it will affect your families, and it will affect your communities.
Because we are done. We are engaged in organizing what will be the largest healthcare pushback that Ontario has ever seen. So when you see auto members and auto workers out talking about public health care and the importance of public health care, how powerful is that? It adds another layer of credibility to the work that we do in this union.
We had the auto panel here at ORC. This was an important year for auto workers. They went into bargaining with close to 20,000 members here and made some historical gains at the bargaining table. This auto panel was about telling the story of the auto worker, of the multi-generations that work in the plant, the different concerns of auto workers, and so it was important to showcase their stories and to create that panel.
Lana, I mean, being the first woman to lead the D3 auto bargaining was huge in itself and very inspiring, right? But like, if you look at our bargaining committees, it's predominantly still men. Definitely having the forefront that Lana did to create this gender equity advisory group and to have a privilege to be on that and say, what can we look at? Look at our contract and look at the demands from an equity lens. Let's make sure all of our members' needs are taken care of and we can make some gains and victories in that.
Without a doubt, there's been challenges in the auto industry. There's been a lot of changes in the plants over the years. Being able to be a part of negotiating probably the richest contract that a Canadian auto worker has ever seen, with wages increasing like they have, improvements to pensions, the first time we've done that in 15 years, and just the benefit package that we were able to put together for our members was tremendous, and it sets a bar high for those that are going to follow.
2023 was big. Lots of historic gains in some sectors, especially in Ontario for the auto sector. It was massive. It was generational collective agreement in the auto sector, in the retail sector, and we're going to transition that looking forward to 2024.
Really, one of the most critical things we did, not just for our members going through transition in auto, but as a template for all sectors that will have to experience this, to make sure that no worker gets left behind during that kind of transformative change that is occurring at work.
This is where I feel we make the most progress as a union, when we give space for workers to come together, like we're gathered today, and really get down to the issues and share perspectives collectively. The countdown to the next provincial election has already begun, and the campaigning starts now. There's a lot at stake. Affordable housing, saving our healthcare system, holding megacorporations accountable to their workers and customers, better legal protections for working people, and decent pay and work. We made a lot of history this year with consecutive bargaining wins, underdog, winning against corporate bullies, and the mounting power of workers across this country. And I know the next year is going to be even bigger and bolder.